Hello everyone, myself Pradeep Pandey. I will be introducing you the errors of perception. First of all, we'll have to study the perception, and there are some of the definitions of perception. According to S.P. Robbins, perception may be defined as a process by which individuals organize and interpret their sensor impressions in order to give meaning of their environment. According to Joseph, perception includes all those processes by which an individual receives information about his environment. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, and smelling are the examples the Josephs have given. According to Kodash, perception is selection and organization of material which stems from the outside environment at one time or the other to provide the meaning we express. Here is the example of perception. We can also see the old and young woman. We can also see the old and young man. The young man is handling a guitar in his hand, and the young woman is sitting down there with along the young man. Also, we can see the old man and old woman facing the face to each other. Errors in perception. Some of the points of errors in perceptions are Halogen effect, attribution bias, contrast effect, stereotyping, inference, selective perception, impression, self-fulfilling prophecy. So let us study each of the points one by one. Halo effect. At times, we judge a person exclusively on the basis of a single trend. This is known as halo effect. Under the influence of halo, a perceiver cannot judge an individual properly because he does not consider all his strengths. For example, if an employee is always the first one to reach office and the last one to leave office, he is considered to be very industrious and creative, whereas an employee with casual attitude and relaxed body language would not be taken seriously and would not be relied upon. These two judgments taken by a manager are based on halo effect and might not be accurate as the manager has taken into account only a single obvious characteristics of the employee. Such judgment should be carefully examined as a single trend cannot define the characteristics and performance of an employee or any other person. Attributional bias. Attribution is a method which helps an individual in determining the cause behind his behavior. In an organization, people are not only concerned an individual behavior but also about reason behind that behavior. For example, if productivity of a plant increase after installation of new machine, then they credit would give to newly installed machine rather than the manager and his employee handling the ability. Contrast effect. Contrast effect states that something that is dramatically different will overstate the contrast between it and everything else. For example, if an interviewer, when there are a huge number of job applicants, distortion in the evaluation of any candidates may occur on the basis of the place of his application. If his application is placed after a relatively weak candidate, it immediately grabs the attention of the interviewer, whereas it may lose its charm if it placed after a very strong candidate. Stereotyping. Stereotyping refers to making a general image regarding the characteristics which is usually wrong of all members of a group. This hampers a manager's ability to take correct decisions. For example, Mahesh is an introvert but an excellent salesman, but his manager underrated his performance as compared to the other salesperson because he does not fit with them. The manager here ignored his performance due to stereotyping and made an incorrect judgment. Inference. Certain people have the impulse to judge others on the basis of insufficient knowledge. For example, an employee might sit at his workstation throughout the entire day and do nothing. Still, he might be considered as committed to his work. Hence, before giving performance appraisal, Entire information about the employees must be collected. The behavior of the employee with his colleague and customers, his productivity, etc. must also be taken in account. Selective perception. People are prone to describe a situation on the basis of their interest background, experiences, and attitude. On the road, they will notice those vehicles more than resemble their own, or if office why some employees get appreciation for doing a certain act which when do by others is overlooked. This is because people cannot observe each and everything happiness around them, so they perceive things selectively. For example, if there is a rumor that due to reduction in sales, company is planning, meanwhile a senior executive plan a routine visit, it would be presumed that he is precisely to eliminate employees. However, that would be the lasting in his mind impression. The first impression has a great impact on others. The way a person talks, behaves, or even his silence has an influencing effect. This first impression decides what kind of relation the person will share in the future. Errors because of impressions occur when due to some reason the person formulates a negative image on the other person and then refuses to change it. The next one and the last one is self-fulfilling prophecy. Prejudiced perceptions may find their way on the basis of expectations. Many people try to justify their perceptions on reality, although they are totally inaccurate. Things that are acceptable in one culture might be considered inappropriate in other culture. Hence, in business, manager must gather information about cultural norms in order to avoid any awkward situations or hurt the feelings of others. For example, an American manager employed in Japan should be aware of the fact that while frequent smiling in America is considered polite, it would be considered as foolish in Japan.